What is up, Bear Den? It is your host, V or V15, back at it again with another Bear Den recap video. Now, the first 3 weeks are finally wrapped up in Season 12, so it's time to see where teams are standing, see the chaos that is general chat, and finish up with a great interview featuring two absolute legends of the franchise. Be sure to stick around. It's finally October, my personal favorite season. There's just something about the crisp autumn air, the long nights, and the general spookiness that creates a sense of change around this time. Some people may in fact be feeling this sense of change more than others. Now, even with all of this change happening, there's one thing that we can all agree on that will never change, and that is that you are never going to get into the Bear Den Club. If anyone wants a taste of what it's like to have DEN in front of your name, I'd recommend asking Treefort for an invite to the rip-off Bear Den. However, the biggest news of these past 2 weeks is the trading of Clarky, who leaves the Den after 5 seasons of incredible play. We will definitely miss him, but he has provided enough entertainment these past weeks to last the rest of Season 12. Seeing Clarky go from drawing messages in Kodiak's chat after his keyboard died to some cleaner, to unintentionally buying a fire truck, is definitely something I did not expect to witness. But myself and the rest of the Den wish him the best of luck over at the soundtrack. Of course, except for match day 12. Now, I've been planning to use this advertising space to promote my GoFundMe I was going to start. I know that Luna caught on to this, but it seems that ever since Arb has come back from his vacation, the overall record of the franchise seemed to have a pretty heavy dip. So I was planning on creating a GoFundMe to sort of get Arb back out of his normal location and actually up in the slopes in Colorado. I'm thinking potentially Breckenridge, maybe a bit of the Arapaho Basin. Beautiful spots. I think it would really benefit the franchise as a whole. But of course, on Wednesday, 2 days before I'm making this video now, the Den decided to go 18-10, and the record are not that different. So shout out to those contenders for ruining my ad read, but no ads this time, I guess. Speaking of those teddy bears, look who is at the top of our standings now. If anyone was wondering, yes, it took me way too long to add these gifts to the page, but it's worth it. The teddy bears, after being in last place in the franchise after match week 1, now rocket up to the top with a 15-9 record, followed closely by the koala bears and the grizzly bears. We got the Care Bears and Panda Bears sitting at an even 500, the place that the Care Bears usually sit. And just a little bit behind are the Kodiaks, so I know we're putting in some work to get their season rocking up, and the Polar Bears down at the bottom. Now, I was a bit interested in hearing more from the Polar Bears, so I decided to interview 2 of their players just to get a bit of a sense of what's going on. It's working. Alright, nice. Alright, and for today's interview guest, I decided to grab the other AGM of the Bear Den, but I brought along one of his friends. I managed to drag them away from Captain's Voice to be here. We have basically the longest standing Bear member, Ryan Awesome, and the drafting mastermind AGM, Wallaby or Wallaby Gangster. Please introduce
What
yourselves.
Hello.
I guess I did all the introduction myself. So I think I'm gonna start off here being a media person myself now with Wallaby. This is something that I kind of think about whenever I'm running in ranked games. I tend to come into matches with people like James Bott, like South American casters or Central American casters, and I've actually always wondered how do you feel doing more media, doing more commentary has sort of affected your personal gameplay or how you're actually playing the game itself?
Oh, jeez. Uh, well, so I mean, I guess it really depends on what type of commentary you do, right? But for me, since I'm doing color and doing a lot of analysis, definitely has changed. I mean, it's made me a little bit more analytical about my own play, potentially about like rotational based play. Fortunately, it wasn't. It was already kind of something that I had been focused on already. But yeah, it definitely you kind of notice some mistakes a little bit more. And I also on top of that, for me personally in my play, I definitely every time I whiff or I miss or I do something, I just remember like myself saying like, "Oh, he really shouldn't be missing those," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I shouldn't be." Damn. So yeah, probably. I mean, it kind of makes you a little bit more analytical, at least in my end. But it hasn't been a drastic playstyle change, more just kind of or like a view of the game necessarily. It's just been kind of it's a little bit more pronounced, I think, than I already was.
Interesting. And I just realized I forgot my classic question that I was going to ask every guest on the show, which is, I don't know if I have a guess about what it might be, but what would you say for each of you is your most memorable Rocket League related or RSC related moment in the game? Let's start with Ryan.
Winning the championship 100%.
That's what I thought.
uh, as the Wallaby puking between games, it's definitely in there in that championship memory. Pretty solid.
I don't know if you can count as remembering all of you.
Yeah,
what was your...
I don't know, like
Game 2, that's what he remembers the most.
yeah, actually though, like game 2 of the championship, I was the only time I was really super cognizant. I think the semifinals, honestly, was probably my most memorable moment, only because I could remember it more. Uh, Obviously the finals, I just wasn't really a lot there. Left right afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, the entire playoff run, we had been having some issues during the season. We had fixed. I mean, we had a really really great season, anyways. But and I don't know. It just kind of felt like playoffs came around and everything clicked together. We really like we had no problems. Everything felt good. We were all on the same page. Our comps were great. Like emotionally, verbally, everything was pretty much like on par. Like I don't know. It was probably the smoothest I think I've ever felt with the team at any point. So that whole
We
run really was
definitely
pretty
hit our
memorable.
stride in the playoffs there.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge that Wallaby came home from the hospital to play the game, played 7 games, and then went immediately back to the hospital.
It was interesting.
A legendary moment in
Yeah.
Bear Den lore.
He does not get enough credit for that because he doesn't tell people.
It was an experience.
Well, that actually sort of segues into one of the questions that I did have, and that is looking back at that previous season in minor. I mean, you guys were coming in to the playoffs as a 5th seed, so really not, I guess, threatening some of the top teams in minor going into playoffs. And it sounds like you kind of just everything sort of clicked together. So was this just something that sort of happened randomly? Is there like a sort of moment that you can pinpoint, like, oh yeah, this is when it all started working together, and maybe like how that came about? Was there some sort of change that you made? Was it coming down to like replay reviews, playtime, communication stuff, or is it just like all these sort of separate parts just happened to come together at the same point?
That's a
I
tough
mean,
one.
certainly wasn't random.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We had definitely seen flashes of it throughout the season. It just
Right.
did not hit that level of consistency until it was like all on the line.
Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to trust too. Like we had the skill, we had the ability, we knew what we were supposed to do, with UV actually. We had done probably 3 or 4 replay reviews that season. yeah, like Ryan said, we had flashes, like games where we would go in and we would just dominate, and we like, and a lot of teams have that, but it was happening, like at probably once or twice every match, like where just one of those games felt so good. But I think it really came down to trust. Personally, that would be my guess, is that we started to trust each other. We trusted each other's rotations, our hits, and once we did that, I mean, it just clicked. Everything felt smooth, and we were all like on a positive mindset. Everything was good to go. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't random because we put in the work, but it definitely was kind of like fortunate that it did happen right then, because we had a really rough match night, the last match before playoffs started. So the team we beat in the semifinals, actually, funny enough, is the team that we struggled against. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's something that comes up whenever I'm doing reviews or even just talking with like the Care Bears. I think whenever you get a new player, just getting to that level of trust that you kind of don't have to support a player, avoid doing double commits, stuff like that. I think that's, once you can sort that out, it sort of makes everything else sort of follow into suit, which I think is a great way of describing it. I will also take,
And Ryan popped off, by the way.
yeah,
Like,
our finals
let's be
MVP, Ryan
real.
also.
Like the entire playoffs, Ryan was just like, I'm gonna play like an elite player. Let's go.
Oh, you got COVID in the middle of the run. I had to step it up just based off of that.
I was like a half player, bro.
So I think pivoting more into your AGM role, Wallaby.
Mhm.
I know that you take, from conversations with you take a lot of pride in your drafting and recruitment to the Bear Den. Particularly in your prospect teams you've built in the past. I know you put in many an hour into finding the right fit. And then also something that I think is interesting about the Bear Den is we tend to try and keep as many players from the franchise within the same franchise season after season, regardless if players tend to move up or move down. Easy example would be just the Care Bears, how us three have been for 3-4 seasons, but other players sort of like John, like Jacob, or Treefort. Sort of a double question, but what do you think is your, I guess, secret, however much you want to share, for sort of finding the right players to bring in? And also, what do you think is the benefit of sort of retaining this talent within the Bear Den?
I mean, it's not really that much of a secret, to be honest. Like when you go and you draft and you go into these combines and you're looking for people, you are looking for how people interact with others, especially in the times where a lot of people would get really annoyed or frustrated. Those types of situations are really good to look at. Also, just really people within the Bear Den coming to me and being like, "Hey, my friend is, my friend X, whoever it may be, is in this tier, and I think that would be a good person for you to look at." And so I take every single time people do that, I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll look," and just keeping. Really, like, personality definitely comes first, for me, at least when I'm looking at it, and then, like, you have potential and skill and all that, but I'm looking at personality and how people are going to mesh with others, because in reality, in RC, everybody's in tiers, everybody's even, or supposed to be pretty close, and so what sets teams apart is their ability to mesh together, as well as their ability to practice outside of match times and kind of interact with each other. So I'm looking for that usually. And then the benefit, I think, to keeping those people, minus the fact that it takes a ton of work to scout, so keeping them, it's one less spot to fill. But I mean, that's like the smallest reason. Really, it's when we're bringing in players and when we're drafting people and when we're trying to find people, we're also looking for people that we enjoy to have around as a community. And if we build a community and we're happy with it, why would we not want to keep the people there, right? And it's friends of ours, friends of others, people that have really good positive impacts. And I think when you keep people in the community and you prove to them that you're willing to keep them there, and work to keep them there, and work around and make things happen for their benefits, I feel like it definitely increases the sense of loyalty and the sense of belonging somewhere. And you get things like this, like the show for the Bear Den, which is really cool and wouldn't really happen without somebody who truly cares about the Bear Den, like yourself, being invested in the franchise and ready to kind of create it and put in the work for it. And so I think that keeping people around makes them more willing to invest their time, invest their efforts, not only in improving their own play, because they know, okay, even if I have a rough season this season, at least if I improve my play and I show that I'm improving, I can I'll have a place in a team next season here. But also just to, on the outside, create content for things. The All-Star game, I think, is a really cool example of something that we do that I don't know anybody. Like, there are other franchises that have All-Star games, but really not to the level that we do. So I think that really those couple things are the main benefit to keeping people within the franchise.
Well,
long-winded answer.
Speaking of keeping people in the franchise, we have the person who's been kept the longest. Maybe he's been imprisoned in the franchise. Ryan, how many seasons exactly have you been at the Bear Den? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. 6, maybe more. I don't remember.
Now, here's a deep dig. I know that I came here season 7, I believe, and back in those days, we had a different GM known by Special K. And my question is, how much has the Bear Den changed from Specials management to ARBS management? What have you sort of, do you have positives from way back when, positives more recently? Definitely say which person you like better overall, and throw someone under the bus.
I think I think I got here Specials first season as GM, back when it was still a Game of Thrones themed franchise, before we had any bears. And every season that I've been here, it's gotten better. And I think that's just a testament to what Special was building and what he passed on to Arb, and what Arb and Wallaby and you and what we've all created here. A special community here for sure.
Yeah, I think I definitely enjoy all the people we keep around. Your personality scouting, Wallaby, is very strong. But now
he's slowly trying to take over the Bear Den. I'm not sure if anyone has noticed how many real life friends he's had join.
Yeah, he's got a little posse sneaking around.
Gotta be worried for when the revolution comes.
No, Ryan, stop it.
You could roll a die, and you could get. Odds are someone in the franchise knows Wallaby on a deeper level than a normal player. So watch out for people coming through.
Strong possibilities for sure.
Give away my secrets.
All right. Well, now here comes what we've all been waiting for. The Guess the Franchise player. I have a replay pulled up. I'm worried about the audio, so I might do a little test run before I share my screen. But what would you say? Well, I asked Papa this question last time, and he seemed quite confident that he was gonna nail this. What would you say your guys' confidence is heading into this guessing game?
I'm confident in Wallaby getting it right.
Oh. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I'm worried to be confident because I'm it's kind of I've coached challenger prospects and contenders, so theoretically I should know what their cards look like, but let's be real, my attention span and focus isn't always the best, especially my memory.
All right, well,
so,
I'll kick it off here.
Right.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
checking whether I disconnected or not.
I was like watching this, I'm like recording on my screen. I realized I haven't shared my screen yet. Oh my god.
Cut that.
Yeah. The magic of
Yeah.
editing.
Edit that out.
Sure.
Oh god.
I was like, he hasn't shared it, but I didn't know if he was checking audio or not, so I wanted to be quiet.
Huge. Alright, here we go. You can see my screen here.
Yes, we're
Nice.
here.
Now we're ready. Now we're ready to go.
Ready to
Yeah.
rumble.
At least I checked the audio, so it's all good. Okay.
Wow, this is a sweat already.
Green.
And we begin. You get 90
Base
seconds,
offense.
1 point for the team, or tier, and then 2 points for the player. And this is from this week's match days.
This week. It was definitely, I think, major. The reason I say that is that right there on the ball is Jacob. Like almost 100%. It could be elite.
I don't know what kind of car Papa runs. You might have a better idea.
Finnick.
I don't see a Fennec.
Yeah, not a Finnick. He doesn't play like Papa either. That's why I'm trying to, like, I don't see a single Finnick, and I don't remember the last time. If he's not a Merc, he's a Finnick. I don't remember the last time he's played an Octane.
Alright, there is your clip.
Oh, hell.
Deliberate amongst yourselves.
It's this week. It's this
So
week?
it's this week. I got these
we get
from Monday's
Monday or Wednesday?
matches.
Monday's matches. Okay. Oh, man.
I was gonna stop streaming.
I still think it's major. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah. I major is a good guess. I wouldn't have any idea if it was anything lower than that, I think.
I think, but Arb does play an Octane sometimes. I don't know what Dova plays, but I think he normally plays a long car, I thought. Oh, hell.
Tough one.
Yeah, I think it's Spiffy. I think it's Spiffy or Dova, to be honest with you. Because I think it's Spiffy or Dova. Arb usually plays on the Finnick. Jacob was definitely the Octane air dribbling across the field. I would guess Spiffy.
I'm gonna guess Dova then.
Okay, one of us will get it right.
Just increase our odds.
So you both got 1 point. That was, in fact, the major tier. And, of course, the master scouter of the Bear Den gets it correct. That was Spiffy in the green Octane. So Wallaby, although they were working together, takes the lead.
I will settle for
3
second
points.
place.
Ryan is now at 1 point. And
I
Go
beat
Papa
Papa,
at
that's what
0.
counts.
Yeah, that's all that matters. He definitely set the bar pretty low. But that's all of the questions I had here. If you guys wanted to say anything, sell anything, promote anything, use your time.
Just appreciate what you're doing here. I love the podcast. I went for a walk the other night and I listened to the whole thing. Watched it on my phone. It was great.
Oh, nice.
Can confirm he is on his phone the whole walks. But yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I like it. I was excited to watch it. I'm excited for each subsequent one. It's very interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I was sweated a little bit on the guessing game. It was like felt like there was some pressure. I was like, I have to get this right.
Sometimes it can be dramatic. I got the an angry message from Donk, or a disappointed message saying I grabbed his worst game. So sorry about that.
Oh, that's brutal. It happens.
Yep. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. I'm hoping for a great success story again. I'm ready for the repeat of Minor, so I'll be watching that. And also, anyone listening, always be sure to tune in whenever Wallaby is casting on the RSC streams. He usually posts in general channel or in any announcements when he's on the cast, but Bearden has great stream attendance, even if none of our teams are playing. Most of the time, we'll just start talking about Wallaby on the mic. So feel free to join any of those streams. They're a good time. I'm waiting for one of our teams to get on stream for the real action. But it's always great seeing RSC streamers, especially someone from your own franchise, just killing it. And that wraps up the Bearden Recap Episode 2. Big thanks to Ryan and Wallaby for joining me on this interview and showing off their player knowledge. Both are incredible people. I definitely recommend anyone who hasn't chatted with them to reach out, join any parties that they may be in. Now, I know that basically half of the franchise is personal friends with Wallaby at this point, so the other half of people can reach out and hit them up. Thanks to everyone for the positive feedback on the episodes. If anyone has any other recommendations or things you want to see, feel free to reach out to me. Lots of thanks for everyone posting in the general chat. It makes my job easier to find some funny moments when they're so plentiful. Everyone, always be sure to send your clips in. And I do hope we have a team hopefully sign up for a stream game. I love watching, and honestly more than competing in those streamed RSC games. And I'd love to hear Wallaby cast over one of our teams playing. So be sure to check out the stream schedules in RSC, see if there are any slots that work for you guys for a later kickoff time. And you'll definitely have a bunch of Beardens spamming the chat with Bilf. So if you want to get that experience, I highly recommend it. But I will catch everyone in 2 weeks from now with a new guest, with new clips, with new highlights of the weeks. And I hope everyone has a great start to the fall. Peace!